All right, let's go through the first question over here.
Okay, so I've got to divide two fractions. So let's jump into this first one here. The first fraction, I'm gonna keep it as is, so 3 over 5. Then divide, but I'm gonna convert this into a improper fraction from a mixed number. So it's gonna be 5 times 3 plus 2 over 3. And that's gonna come to 15 plus 2, which is 17 over 3. And now I'm going to tip and times. So it's going to be 3 over 5 times 3 over 17. That'll come to 9 over, and 7 times 5 is 35, and 10 times 5 is 50, so that'll be 85. 9 over 85 for this. Question 2. Increasing 45 by 10%, the first step we have to do, step 1, is find 10% of 45. So that means take 10 divided by 100, because anytime you have a percentage, remember that you have to divide it by 100, and then whenever you see the word off, you change it into multiply. Then you write the next number, 45 over 1. Multiply the top, multiply the bottom. I could even cancel out the zeros here. And 1 times 45 is 45, divided by 10 will come to 4.5. Now we don't stop there. That is 10%. This is 10%. But we want to increase it, so we have to add it back onto the original. That's what we want to do. We want to add it back onto the original. So step 2, we take 45 plus 4.5, and that'll come to 49.5. All right. So we work out 10%. Once we get our answer, we add it back. Okay, good. A t-shirt is sold at a 20% discount. The cost is $200. What is the selling price? Here we have to calculate, just like we did 10% of 45, we're going to calculate 20% of 200 as step 1. That's 20 over 100. Every time you see a percentage, put it over 100. You see the word off, make it times. Then put 200 over 1. Start canceling as many zeros as you can, even across, because it's multiplied. 2 times 20, this is 20, it's gonna equal 40, and 1 times 1 is 40 over 1. Now take that. Now because it's a discount, it means that we have to minus this amount. This is 20%, and that's the selling price, but they're saying it's on a discount. So we have to take 200 and subtract 20%. And what's the 20%? $40. So 200 minus 40 means that the price will be $160, because it's at a discount. Discount means it's going to be sold cheaper, so we subtract. So remember, discount, we subtract, and for increasing, or whenever we see the word increase, we add. Now, next one. Rounding 23.76594 to 3 decimal places means that we have to look at the 4th decimal place. And this 4th decimal place is greater than 5, which means that we change this number up and we make it 23.766. 3 decimal places over there. All right, what I'm going to do now is we're going to do a quick round of each of these, okay? So another round of each of these. We'll start with, maybe we will just do the first two, and then we'll do rounding and discounts. All right, so let's say I remove that, and I'll leave this question on here, okay? And go through another two questions for you to try from. Okay, so question 1B, doing exactly what I did in part 1, see if you can find 2 over 5 divided by 3 and 4 over 5. In question 2B, see if you can increase 75 by 20%. All right, increase 75 by 20% and divide this just like that, very similarly to that. Give you a few minutes to try that. Remember, you're welcome to just pause the video whenever you need to try something, and then press play when you're ready. All right, let's go through these two now. So for this one over here, remember we're going to change this into a improper fraction. We're going to take 3 multiplied by 5, take that answer plus the 4 at the top. Take that divided by the original 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 4 is 19 over 5. Rewrite it. And then tip in times. Well done if you got to this part. Always change the second fraction, never the first. That'll be 5 over 19, and the 5s will cancel like that, leaving me with 2 over 19. So the final answer here will be 2 over 19. Now if you said 2 times 5, you would have got 10. If you said 5 times 9, you would have got 95. And then what you had to do is divide it by 5 afterwards and get to 2 over 19. But what you notice is when you multiply two fractions, you can simply just cancel. You can cancel the denominator in the numerator. And we've seen it over here as well. When we multiply here, we cancel the zeros. And over here, we couldn't cancel anything. But sometimes you can cancel across fractions when you multiply. Okay. The next one, increase 75 by 20%. Remember, step 1, take 20% of 75. So that's 20 over 100 times 75 over 1. Canceling out the zeros, I can even go 2 divides into 10. 2 divides into 10 5 times. And then 5 divides into 75. 5 times what will give you 75. 5 goes into 7 2 times. The remainder 2. 5 goes into 25 5 times. So the answer here will be 25. But that's not the final answer, because we want to increase it. We want to increase it by that. We take that number and we plus it back onto the 75. So step 2, after we found that 20%, we then add it back. So 25 plus 75 comes to 100. And my final answer here will be 100. Another way to calculate 20% is to calculate 10%. Now you know 10% is simply divide by 10. And then times it by 2. So 20% is 15. That makes more sense and not 25. So something went wrong here. And let's double check this, right? I'm going to go back again. 20 over 100 times 75 over 1. The zeros cancel. 2 goes into 10 5 times. But what is 75 divided by 5? That's 15. That's supposed to be 15. Step 2. We take 15 and we add it back onto the original. Right, we add it back onto 75. So 15 plus 75 comes to, that's better, 90. My final answer here will be 90. We're now moving into another set of questions here. Try your best on these questions. We're doing just general revision today. Find the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple of 24 and 8. Then question 6, state all the primes between 80 and 100 prime numbers. Question 7 is bad maths. In question 8, you have to add fractions with different denominators. Give it a go. Take a few minutes. Try your best. Just try it. I'm going to go through it anyway, but try it. All right, let's go through each of these now. In the first one, we're going to find the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple. So if I look at factors first, factors of 24, that would be like 24, 48, 72, etc. But factors of 8 will be 8, 16, and 24. And immediately you can see that 24 comes up first, right? Now, we're saying that 8 times 3 is 24. All right. Oh, sorry, that's multiples. Let me just double check that. That was multiples. I'll just change this into an M. Multiples is 24. Can start from 24, but it gets a bit too big. 48, 72. Multiples of 8, which makes more sense now, because that's why it is 8, 16, and 24. 8 is the lowest common multiple because 24 is the lowest common multiple because 8 times 3 is 24. All right, sorry, I'm just getting the words jumbled up. So 24 is the first number that is a multiple of both 8 and 24. And so my lowest common multiple is 24. Now let's go to highest common factor. Factors of 24 are all the numbers that can divide into 24. 1, 24, 2, 12, 3, 8, 4, 6. And then factors of 8 is going to be 1 times 8, 2, and 4. 2 times 4. The highest common factor, now here we've got a common factor, and another common factor. And so the highest common factor is equal to 8. And the lowest common multiple equals to 24. All right, let's have a look at the next one. State all primes between 80 and 100. Well, 81 can divide by 9. No, 82 is an even number. 82, let's quickly write this down. So 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. I'm just going to write them all down. You don't have to do this. You can probably think about it and write it down when you did do it. 97, 98, 99, and 100. Firstly, it says between. Between means excluding those two numbers. The next thing is even numbers are out. The only even number that's a prime number is the number 2, which is way smaller than these. So all even numbers are out. We can take all the even numbers, remove it completely. All right, now you got to know your timetables quite well. 81 is 9 times 9. 83, possibly prime. 85 can divide by 5. 95 can divide by 5. Anything that ends in 5 can divide by 5. 99 can divide by 3. 87, let's keep that in mind. 89, let's keep that in mind. And 91, keep that in mind. And 97, and let's test each of these. How do we know that these numbers could possibly be prime or not? Now, if I take 8 plus 3, this comes to 11. 8 plus 7 is 15, which comes to 6. 1 plus 5. 9 plus 1 comes to 10. 8 plus 9 comes to 17. 9 plus 7 comes to 16, which comes to 7. This one will come to 8. a whole number 8. If we add the numbers 9 plus 3 is 12, which will come to 3. That one can divide by 3, so 93 is out. This over here is the number 6. 87. Can 87 divide by any number? 3. Yes, 3 goes into 8, 2 times, remainder 2. 3 goes into 27, 9 times. So 29 times 3 equals 87, so it's not prime. Okay, so that's 60 plus 27, which is 87. And you can see that numbers that add up to 6, numbers that add up to 3 as well, are definitely not prime. Just the actual numbers, adding the numbers together. That leaves us with 97. Can 97 divide by 3? No. 2, no, it's an odd number. 4, no. 5, no. 6, no. 7? 7 can go into 9, remainder 2. Can 7 go into 27? No. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so we're leaning on 83, 89, and 97 as the prime numbers between 80 and 100. Okay, so how do we remember this, right? So you have to think about these rules, the addition rules, where you take each value and you add it together, and if it adds up continuously into a single digit and that digit is a 6 or a 3, then that number is divisible by a 3, or it will be divisible by any number. All right, it's a good way to suss it out. Okay, so how would we double check this? 83, 89, 97. Um, we probably have to, try a few numbers. So we start with 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., etc., etc. And what you will find that eventually, those are the answers there. Okay. All right. Okay. We can go into more detail on methods on how to get that. Next, question 7, dead math. Over here, I'm going to do the bracket first. But before I do that, I have to do the multiplication first. So I'm going to do multiplication first, then the bracket. Then I'm going to multiply those. And then only after that, will I actually want to do the last part today, which is part 4. So let's start with 1. 3 times 2 is 6. So negative 6 times 4 minus 6 plus 9. Part 1 done. Part 2 now, which is this part here. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Okay, and then the next one is part 3, which is all of this. Negative 6 times negative 2 is 12. 12 plus 9 is going to equal, 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 1 is going to give you 21. Alright, remember negative times a negative is a positive, so this becomes a positive 12. And 12 plus 9 is 21. So bad maths, remember, you start with brackets. E stands for exponents, D stands for division, multiplication, which is normally interchangeable, and addition and subtraction as well. Okay, so negative 6 times 4 minus 3 times 2 plus 9 comes to 21. All right. Now, for the next one, I need to find a lowest common denominator, which means I've got to take 2, 3, and 4 and actually find the lowest common multiple. In other words, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and then 3, 6, 9, 12, and then 4, 8, 12. And what you notice, 12 is a number that can divide into all of them. So what I'm going to do is change each fraction into its equivalent form with a denominator of 12. I'm going to multiply this one by 6 to get 12 and 6. I'm going to multiply this one by 4 to get 4 and 12. I'm going to multiply this one by 3, get 3 and 12. And so 6 plus 4 gets me 10, and 10 plus 3 gets me 13. So the final answer will be 13 over 12, which can be the same as 1 and 1/12. Simplify it into a single fraction, so 13 over 12 should be your answer there. Alright, these questions are pretty much general, but you have to remember all these nitty-gritty rules that can change a lot. Okay. Any questions on the last one or any other questions, just type your questions in if you have any. And remember, lowest common multiple is the same as lowest common denominator. Alright, let's move on. We're going to move on to the next part now. Alright, this is a simple interest formula. What you have to remember here is that, by the way, John is investing. There's an amount that's being removed here. It's supposed to be $5,000. Okay, so that's $5,000 here. Let me just erase that. This is supposed to be $5,000. And how much interest will he earn after 5 years? So for this question here, he invests $5,000. We have to use the method of substitution, and we're going to put this as P in there. 4%, remember, is 0.04. That'll go in place of the I. And this means multiply. And this is going to be my number of years in, which is 5, and that'll go in there. So 5 will go there, 0.04 will go there, and 5,000 will go in there. Put that all on a calculator. Remember, this is multiply. You can grab a calculator from Google and see if you can put this with brackets in there. Put those numbers in there and see if you can get some kind of A value, which is how much it's grown to. And then let's see if we can find the interest after that. For that. Okay, so let's go through this one. Now I want to find A, and I'm saying P is 5,000. So I put 5,000, put a bracket on my calculator, 1 plus. In place of I, I'm going to put 0.04. What you notice is that I use brackets because that's how I want it to look in the calculator. Brackets can also produce multiplication. If there is a multiplication here, we can put multiply times 5. And there's a lot of brackets in there. Or you could leave the brackets out, but make sure you put multiply there. Put that all in the calculator, all right, and it should give you the following answer. $5,000 in bracket 1 plus 0.04 times 5 close bracket. This is all put it like that. Your answer should come to $6,000. So what we're saying here is that when John goes to the bank, right? He goes to the bank and he puts $5,000 in the bank. 5 years later, the 5,000 becomes 6,000 automatically without even doing anything. It just becomes that. So he earns interest. And the interest calculation, or the interest earned, is an amount, not a percentage. Is given by the ending amount minus the starting amount. Is 6,000 minus 5,000 means that it grew by 1,000. And so $1,000 will be the interest earned for this first question. Using the same idea, what you want to do is apply it to the next question. But in the next question, we want to double the investment. And what does that mean if you invest 2,000? Now, P is equal to the investment. A is equal to the accumulated amount. It's how much it grows into. All right? The grown amount. And then I is 10%. 10% is the same as 0.10. So what is N? And that's the question here. The investment here is 2,000, and we wanted to double to 4,000. And so there we go. And so that's what we have. So the 4,000 goes there, 2,000 goes there, 10% goes there, and that's what we want to find, which is N for this. See if you can put that in there and put it on a calculator again. Try it. Okay, so we want to double the investment. And so what we want to do here is start from 2,000 and make it 4,000. Put it in the equation. So here we go. 4,000, remember, is the ending amount, A. 2,000 is the starting amount, P. The bracket means multiply. So 1 plus I, which is 0.10, that's 10%, times N. And that's what we want to find. We want to find out what is N. Now remember, N can be found if we say 2,000 times something. What will that something be? Equal to 4,000. 2, right? 2,000 times 2 equals 4,000. So that means whatever's inside the bracket must be 2. Now 1 plus something is 2. That something is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And so 0.10 times N must equal 1. Now how do we find N? Remember, 2 times a number equals 6. How do we find it? 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 1 divided by 0.1 gets me N. And 1 divided by 0.10 will get me 10. So N equals 10. Final answer there. All right, looking at some algebra now. Okay, so in just general revision, have a look at the following algebra questions. Give it a go. Try your best. See what you can do for these. All right, let's go through these now. For the first one, what we want to do is substitution. So the P over here is 5. I'm going to use brackets for substitution. And the Q is -2. So 5 times -2 will become -10. All right, and negative P plus Q. Negative P will be -5 plus Q, which is -2. Now, a plus and a minus becomes a minus. So -5 minus 2 will become -7. All right, question 2. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Now I'm going to get x equals to 12 minus 5, which is 7. Over here, I'm going to subtract x. It's going to become -5 equals 2x minus x. Whenever you move anything over an equal sign, it changes its sign into the opposite. So it starts from positive, so it becomes negative. And 2x minus x groups together to become x. So x equals -5 over there. X plus x plus x equals 3x. Y plus y is 2y. And we do not do anything else there. 2x plus 2y, we stop. We can't add x and y because they're different. It's like apples and bananas. We can't add two different fruit together. All right? 4x minus x will become 3x for this one. And minus y plus 2y using integers. Minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1y. So 3x minus y. And then 3x squared plus x squared equals 4x squared.
minus 4 minus 2 is minus 6. K times k gets me k squared. K times 1 gets me k. K times k gets me k squared. K times 1 gets me k. Negative k times k gets me negative k squared. Negative k times negative 2 gets me positive 2k. K squared minus k squared will cancel. K plus 2k will be 3k. Alright. What we're going to do now is the following. Alright. And that's it. Alright, so what we'll do is move on to the next thing, okay?